There are very few things as fantastic as traveling to beautiful islands with sandy beaches, rolling hills and sparkling oceans. But imagine if you could own a piece of that paradise and visit whenever you desired for the rich and famous celebrities of the world. This dream is often reality. Private islands sell in the millions and sometimes billions. But to the wealthy, the privacy and peace they offer is worth the money. Today we're going to take a look at 5 impressive celebrity islands and examine how celebrities managed to amass the fortune to buy their own slice of heaven. Mel Gibson. In 2005, Mel Gibson purchased one of the world's largest private islands for $15 million. It's crazy to imagine someone forked up that much cash so nonchalantly. But for Mel Gibson, who has an estimated net worth of $425 million, $15 million is basically pocket change. Mel Gibson rose to fame as an action hero in the 1980s after starring in wildly popular films like Lethal Weapon and Mad Max. Prior to that, he worked in Australia, getting several minor roles in low-budget films and mainly working in theatre. After landing roles in a few American films, Mel managed to truly embed himself into Hollywood stardom during the 90s. He started directing, even winning the Best Director Oscar for Braveheart. However, even the best can be knocked off their pedestal after some controversial statements in the early 2000s. Mel Gibson was blacklisted in Hollywood. It wasn't until his return to directing in 2016 with Hacksaw Ridge, but many welcomed Mel Gibson back into the world of Hollywood entertainment. In the midst of this roller coaster of a career, Mel Gibson found his safe haven Mego Island in Fiji. The 5,400-acre island has quite a bit of history, serving as both a cotton and sugar plantation in its not so distant history. Many native descendants have protested Mel Gibson's purchase of the island. However, it's clear those protests have fallen on deaf ears. The island itself is lush with stunning forests and mountain peaks that lead to the clear blue water below. Surprisingly though, this is Mel Gibson's private island. There are about 60 other individuals that live on it as caretakers. The island is also home to a modest ranch with several cows, horses and goats. While one would imagine Mel Gibson would build a mansion there with his fortune, the building he actually resides in is far from a castle. The original colonial house is a single story with a pool, and this is where Mr. Gibson resides when he needs to get away. Leonardo DiCaprio. In 2005, Leonardo DiCaprio purchased a private island off the coast of Belize for $1.75 million. But how exactly did this well-known actor reach the level of stardom and financial success to buy an island? And what exactly does he plan on doing with it? Surprisingly, Leonardo got his start doing commercials and playing a guest role on shows like Roseanne and Growing Pains. It wasn't until he landed his role in Titanic at the age of 23 that Leonardo skyrocketed to stardom. Titanic went on to become the highest-grossing film the world had ever seen. And Leonardo DiCaprio became a household name and an international heartthrob from that point forward. Roles with some of the best directors in the world, like James Cameron, Quentin Tarantino, and Alejandro Gonzalez. Inarritu came easily to him. Aside from being an actor, Leonardo DiCaprio is a vocal environmental activist. In 1998 he formed the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, a non-profit organization focused on improving the environment and educating others on global warming and renewable energy. His foundation has raised over $70 million to help the environment, and he has been active in improving the environmental structure in 40 different countries. Leonardo DiCaprio has also donated millions to the Wildlife Conservation Society and served as a narrator and producer for several environmental documentaries. So why did Leo buy an island in Belize? Well, the region this island in has long suffered from overfishing and deforestation. Leonardo bought the island with the intention of turning it into an eco-resort focused on sustainability and environmental restoration. Slated to open in 2020, the 104-acre resort will be entirely solar-powered with 36 open-air bungalows and 36 villas, as well as several infinity pools. Worried about the water waste? Those pools will cause. Luckily Leo's way ahead of you on that one. All the water on the island will be recycled. Rainwater aside from just being a resort, the island will also be home to a research center for global warming. As far as private island purchases go, this seems to be one of the better one. Johnny Depp, yet another actor who sprung from teen idol to Oscar nominee. Johnny Depp is a household name that went on to buy his own private islands in the Bahamas called Little Holes Pond Cay for $3.6 million. Prior to buying the island, Johnny Depp got his start in Hollywood playing a teen heartthrob in the television series 21 Jump Street. In 1990 he starred in Tim Burton's film Edward Scissorhands, which began a beautiful friendship and lifelong collaboration that would change the trajectory of his entire career from there. Johnny Depp landed more quirky roles and made a conscious decision to only play characters he felt connected to rather than just picking films he thought would be a box office success. One of those roles he connected to was Captain Jack Sparrow in the iconic Pirates of the Caribbean series. While filming on location in the Bahamas, he happened to stumble upon Little Holes Ponds Cay and decided then and there that he wanted to call it his own. Since purchasing the island in 2004, Johnny has made an effort to really establish it as his own personal paradise. The 45-acre tropical hideaway is coated in white sand beaches, lush vegetation, crystal clear water and 360-degree views of the vast, beautiful ocean. Several solar-powered homes pepper the island with golf cart, serving as the primary mode of transportation between them. The 6 distinct beaches are each named after someone important in Johnny's life, including his former wife, 2 children and his mentors, Marlon Brando and Hunter S. Thompson. But how does one get to this beautiful remote island? Well, if you're Johnny Depp, you take your massive 156-foot private yacht to it. The yacht, named the Holy Row after his ex-wife and children, is coated in pirate memorabilia and even waves a Jolly Roger flag proudly above it. Nicolas Cage. Aside from stealing the Declaration of Independence, Nicolas Cage has a few other hobbies, one of which is buying as many properties as he can get his hands on. One of those properties cost approximately $3 million when it was purchased in 2004, with a net worth of an estimated $150 million at the time purchasing the island. Barely put a dent in Nicolas Cage's wallet, but it took him quite a while to amass such a fortune. Born the nephew of Francois Ford Coppola, Nick Cage had quite a reputation to live up to, with 100 films under his belt in his 37-year career. It's safe to say he's managed to make a name for himself. The beginning of his career was marked with dozens of supporting roles that spanned several different genres. It wasn't until Raising Arizona that Nick Cage got his first big starring role from there. He gained some notoriety for his passionate acting and managed to get several starring roles in films like Adaptation, Ghost Rider and of course National Treasure. His rise to fame and consistent roles put him in the sweet position to be able to buy any property his heart desires. And when he saw a stunning island in the Exuma Island chain in the Bahamas, he just had to buy it. Leaf Cay, which is an incredible 45 acres, has an entire coastline of beaches on the northeast side located about 85 miles away from Nassau. The island is completely isolated and surrounded by miles of crystal clear waters and reefs. While it's not known what structures, if any, Nick Cage has on the island, one thing is for certain: it's a beautiful piece of paradise to own. Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz, private island brings us just a few miles away in the Bahamas in the Eleuthero archipelago. Unlike most of the people on this list, Lenny Kravitz had a special connection that drew him to the island. Born to a mother who was native to the Bahamas, Lenny Kravitz visited every summer as a kid and has loved it his whole life, playing makeshift drums on pots and pans as early as 3 years old. His mother encouraged his love of music from a young age, and the world ought to be pretty thankful for that. He grew to be one of the most prolific musicians of all time. Starting from nothing, been going on tour with Tom Petty, Bob Dylan and Madonna. He produced several award-winning albums for Madonna, Vanessa Paradis, Aerosmith, and Mick Jagger. After working with such a huge span of incredible artists and selling several bestsellers of his own, Lenny Kravitz has amassed a net worth of $50 million. So what would you do with that, $50 million? Well, you'd buy a stunning island back in your mother's homeland. While one might think the island would be covered in buildings and mansions, the truth is actually the exact opposite. When he visits the island, Lenny Kravitz is said to sleep in a trailer and leave all his material possessions behind. The one thing he has on the island, however, is miles of beautiful sand beaches and a recording studio where he can get some of his best work completed. So there you have it, 5 of the most impressive celebrity private islands. What do you think of what these celebrities have done with their piece of paradise? If you had your own private island, what would you do with all that land? Let me know in the comments section below. Who knows, maybe in the near future